This week I learned, picking my book of the month for February, not going to be easy. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update, the 1st of March, guys. It has been a thrilling week for many reasons, mostly because of what I've been reading. So let's go ahead and begin there like you were talking about. What am I reading? I did finish Mystic River by ℙ𝕦𝕣𝕉𝕤, and it's not really a secret, guys. This was wonderful. I enjoyed this immensely. As much as you can enjoy a book that's this much of a torment on the reader, especially if you have kids, but really it's anyone who appreciates the whole format of something happened to childhood friends and what they're dealing with as adults. And then he gets into like a murder mystery, and it's really good, guys. But this was absolutely wonderful. It's one that like I am kind of having like a mini book hangover after it because I can't get it out of my head, that kind of thing, which is weird because I had two of those in February, which was this and Blackmouth. And that got me thinking, I got to pick my book of the month here soon. I don't know if I can do it. That's because that's just been two really incredible books so far. But this, as advertised. I mean, this has a reputation for a reason. This is an absolutely incredible book, and I will be picking up more ℙ𝕦𝕤𝕉 without a doubt. Now, I'm not going to review it on the channel, and the reason why, guys, is because we're going to be talking about it for ℙ𝕦𝕤𝕢. This was Brian's pick from BellTube. This was his pick for ℙ𝕦𝕤𝕢, and I got to say, it's the best pick yet. It's the most I've enjoyed any book that we have read, and I loved Ordinary Grace. But this, guys, I really enjoyed Son of ℙ𝕬𝕤𝕢 as well. But this, man, this was just... This is everything I look for in a book. It's got the coming of age. It's got the stuff where something really bad happened to them as kids, and it kind of forges what they become as adults. And they're kind of they've either dealt with it and become stronger for it, or they've never dealt with it and just become a complete disaster. And I think that's just a formula that always seems to work for me. Incredible writer, Mr. Lehane seems to be. One for one for me. I've only seen the movie of Shutter Island. I've got Shutter Island and Gone Baby Gone on my to-do list for ℙ𝕦𝕤𝕢. And if I like those, I will keep going. But this, Revelation, this was an incredible read. And we did watch the movie right afterwards, which I'll talk about in TV and Movie Talk. But if you're looking for us a discussion, I think the second week of March, we're going to be having that discussion on John's story over at John's channel over at Talking Story, I believe. And then we'll kind of reset it. And we're going to do the thing with ℙ𝕦𝕤𝕢. We're going to reset, and whoever actually picked the book is going to be hosting it on their channel going forward, and that's kind of what our plan is for that going forward. So look for that here very soon if you want to hear us discuss that, because I'm the only one who's read it so far. I think John started it, and Philip and Brian are going to be starting it here very soon. But it's really good, really good. And that leads me to what am I going to read? I talk about kind of like that mini book hangover. So I was done with all my reads for February, and I wanted to go ahead and pick some things for March. But I didn't want to get into the read-along book that we're doing because I thought that's really rude if you're doing a read-along to start it a little early. So I thought, I'll pick up a couple of the smaller reads for this month. Because I did tell you I'm going to 6 books in March, and I have a couple of shorter books. And that's why I started with Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi. This is his follow-up for me. Well, for a follow-up for me, I had read, I think he's wrote a book between this and Boys in the Valley. But I read Boys in the Valley last year, really liked it. And said I'll pick up anything by him going forward. And this is his new book that comes out here on the 18th. This is my review copy, about a third of the way in. Very Blake Crouch. I feel like this is very much a Blake Crouch kind of story. The interesting thing that they're doing here is kind of establishing its own time travel rules. And it's kind of like you can go into your own lifetime. You can only be there for 90 seconds. And you can't really intervene. You can only observe. But there's something kind of screwy going on where it seems like things might be able to be changed, but it's one of those things like, do you want to change that? So this character is reliving this traumatic childhood experience over and over again. I'm not far enough to really understand. It seems like you can't really pick to where you're traveling. It just kind of picks something for you. I don't know. I'm still learning as I go here, but very page-turnery. And the only reason I'm not further into it is because I also started book 1 of Alex Verus, which is Faded by Benedict Jacka. This is one that has come highly recommended from Jim Butcher himself. When I was talking to Jim Butcher, and he said, hey, if you need a holdover until Dresden Files, a series I really highly recommend would be Alex Verus. And here we are 4 years later after that discussion, and I have started that series. Very weird. It's very, very weird. I feel like it's different enough from Dresden Files. Yeah, you're going to get similar vibes. Obviously, he's a mage that's out in the open. It's not a real big secret. But with this, where I felt like Dresden Files kind of started off smaller. It was just Harry doing, independent hirings and working maybe somewhat with the police. This is very much involved with like the council and stuff like right away. And I feel like Alex is I don't want to say he's higher powered than Harry was, but he's more in control of what he's doing right now, I think, than Harry was in that first book. So it feels different enough to where I say, yeah, if you like Dresden Files, I see you could probably slip into this pretty easily. But just saying it's just the British Dresden Files, I don't think so. At least not yet. I don't feel that way. But I think you will see some similarities. It's just unavoidable. Jim Butcher didn't create magic. He didn't create urban fantasy, obviously. So I feel like there's plenty of things to kind of work around there. To me, I kind of get like that Buffy Angel kind of vibe that I got with Dresden Files. But, if you were doing it maybe from like the Wesley Wyndham Price, if you guys know Angel, you know what I'm talking about, kind of doing it from that point of view over with the Watchers Council over in London. It's kind of how it feels like dealing with this, because there's a little bit more of the political underpinnings of what makes the whole like secret magic world go round. But I'm enjoying it so far. Very strange. Like I said, there's a part where I'm at. There's a giant spider who's like dressing him and his companion right now. I don't know, what am I reading, but Arachne seems to be a very interesting character. And when I brought that up, everyone's like, oh, that's a great character. So it's interesting. He's set up a very interesting world here. I'd say I'm about, I don't know, third half of the way through that one. That's really quick. And I'll probably finish both of those this week before I get on to the read-along book, which is going to be the third book in the Relic trilogy, which is Relic of the Gods, book 3 of 9 in the Echo Saga. I know that just gets more and more confusing to people who aren't doing it. But 3 trilogies, this is the end of the first one, and then we'll be taking a break from the read-along. I don't think we'll be starting, book number 4 in April or anything, but that's what we'll be getting to soon. Some people on the Discord have already started it. If you want to jump on board, I think it'd be easy to catch up. They're not super heavy reads. They can get through them really quick. And if you like Dragon Fantasy, guys, I think you'll really like this series because it has a lot of things going on. And you won't have to wait. You can read books 1, 2, and 3 back to back to back if that's kind of your method of doing things. And I think you probably enjoy it quite a bit. But I'm looking forward to that because I think everyone seemed to love book 1. Book 2 got a little bit more mixed reaction, but people were still really in. They're ready to see where it goes. They're not like ready to bounce or anything. They thought it tried to do some things a little quick, which I think we all kind of agreed on in that read along. But we're also very much intrigued with what's going on and seeing how he sticks the landing here in this first trilogy, and I cannot wait to do it. This week on the channel, guys, had some interesting things. I did my reading plans for March, obviously, talked about why I'm pushing it to 6 books in March, and that's because my wife and I are going to a signing for John Green at the end of March. Wife's a big fan of his from Fault of Our Stars. I don't know if it's Fault of Our Stars or In Our Stars. Again, I saw how that book emotionally destroyed her, and I said, I don't need that in my life. But I decided to read Paper Towns because I'm going to a book signing with an author. I feel like I'd better read at least one of his books, and Paper Towns was one she hadn't read. We're going to kind of read that together here before we go on the 26th. That should be fun. But that's why I pushed it to 6 books in March. And some of those are really short. I mean, Faded and First Rule of Time or Third Rule of Time Travel are all like under 350 pages, as well as Paper Towns is. And I feel like for a fantasy reader, that's a little smaller of a book, and I don't think it takes very long to get through one of these Echoes books either. So, yeah, it seems like a lot, but I feel like it won't be as much of a problem getting through it. Now, if I was trying to do these in February, the shorter month, I don't know. But yeah, we'll be digging into that here, and I can't wait to actually see what John Green's all about, because that is a little bit out of my comfort zone, as was Dennis Lehane, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that I can have a similar experiences kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. Reading some of these authors I probably never would have thought I would have, just even a year ago. And it's always exciting to see if they do work out or not. Yeah, I keep holding up this Kindle, and I actually put a picture on Instagram of me reading this, and someone was like, didn't you just have like a big takedown of Kindle and you're still using it? Well, yeah, guys, I didn't throw it in the garbage. I'm still using it. Honestly, I haven't even had time to set this up yet, and that's why I'm still using this. But yeah, again, I didn't say I was throwing it out my window, and I've already purchased these books, so yes, I'm still using it at the moment. But I did talk about how I feel like Kindle has finally pushed a lot of their users away enough to where we're willing to give something like Kobo a try. And that video obviously Got lots of mixed reactions, lots of people that agreed, lots of people that disagreed. Some people even told me I needed to get off my high horse. I didn't feel like that's what I was doing. I was just talking about why I felt like I was leaving and felt a little bit betrayed. Not a little bit, a lot. I felt a lot of betrayed. I was actually incorrect about 1984. That actually happened a while ago, and Amazon apologized for it. So I apologize for saying that they had recently deleted 1984. That's my fault. I actually took that at face value from other people who'd been talking about this, and I thought that it had happened again because 1984 is not on my device, so I just assumed it had been deleted. So that's on me there. I got that one wrong. But a lot of other things, like I said Ronald Dahl. I know it's Roald Dahl. I have always said Ronald Dahl. It's just something with me. The name Roald Dahl does always slips my mind. So again, I misspeak sometimes, guys, and I wish that the videos didn't become about me saying something wrong. It became about what I was actually talking about. But that's life on the internet. You have to be perfect on these videos. But that's always just been a thing with me. I've always said his name wrong. It's just I don't know. It's just something I've always done. But with that, it was just really me talking about enough's enough with Kindle and their mingling or their meddling in all of our items and telling us that we'll own nothing and like it. It's one of those things where I said Kobo didn't do anything to kind of like earn my money. They earned it by doing nothing, by letting us still have control over our own properties. And so it's, again, if that feels like me preaching and being on a morally high horse, I don't think so. I think that might have been more that I said I don't encourage sailing the high seas. I want authors to get their money and stuff like that. And I think that's always going to ruffle some feathers because I think that makes you feel like I'm calling you a thief. And I say in that video, do what works for you. It's just nothing I'm going to encourage, obviously, because I want authors to be rewarded for their work. But a conversation like that's always you're not going to be able to please everybody. But again, it wasn't me telling you what to do. It was just saying, here's what I'm doing. This is why I'm finally leaving Kindle after making like 9 videos about the Kindle and why I use it. So the Kobo, I hope I get to set it up sometime this week, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about it here very, very soon. Over on Mike's Media Reviews, I did a quick video just talking about these documentaries that this group called Creator VC does. They are called In Search of Darkness. They just basically take a long, long look back at 80s horror, and now they've moved into 90s horror. And you are a fan of 80s horror on film. I think that it's a must watch. You have to see it. If you're looking to get interested and see why everybody loves 80s horror so much, they're really, really good watches. And I just got the 90s one that they've started 90 through 94. They've also done one on sci-fi. They've done one on first-person shooters. They're just a really, really great group, and I kind of want to give them some recognition. And I know that Mike's Media Reviews is always going to be inconsistent with how much I upload stuff over there, but that's really what that channel is. It's just when something I can't talk about here, I want to be able to talk about it over there. I don't think it'll ever be a thing where we consistently put out content like I do on this channel. It's just too many balls in the air for us to get everything that we want to get done in life, and that's kind of going to be the theme of next week plans here, guys. I don't talk about personal things a little too much, especially if they're not something good, because you come here for the positivity, I do believe. You want to hear about books. You want to hear about good times, right? I am going to be having a surgery next week. And I don't talk about this too much because, again, I don't feel like it's personal. There's things that I don't think everybody needs to know. But my content this week is going to kind of be up in the air depending on how things go. Now, look, it's nothing life-threatening. It's something very unpleasant. Let's put it that way. I've had something going on for about 1.5 years now, and it's been very, very frustrating. If you've dealt with the medical system here in the States, it can be very, very frustrating when they just refer you to someone else. They charge you $300 to walk in the door, and they tell you, well, we can't help you. It's very, very annoying. I've sunk a lot of money into this, and they still can't figure out what the problem is. It's been very, very frustrating, and it's getting to that point where it's kind of ruining quality of life because it's nothing I would say is like beyond painful, but it's not pleasant. Let's put it that way. And it's got to the point where they've tried several things, and now it's time to get out the old scalpel and see if they can, go deeper and figure out what the problem is. So right now, I'm saying the procedure isn't exactly anything life-threatening, but hopefully they can find out what the issue is, because it's one of those things where doctor can keep telling you we can't find anything, and all you can say as the patient is, my body is telling me something is wrong, and it is something that's been very, very wrong. And hopefully this will be the end of that, but it's going to be something that's not pleasant. It has a 2-day recovery time, so that surgery is happening on Thursday, and I'll be taking Friday off work as well to kind of recover from it. So with this, it just kind of depends on how everything goes this week, making sure I get everything taken care of. I'm also doing my taxes this week, so it's going to be kind of a busy week. So yeah, real life does get in the way sometimes, but I still got some plans for some things I hope to get on the channel this week, including my wrap up for February and my book of the month, which I already told you will be a very, very difficult situation. And I still don't know how I'm going to go with that. Might literally flip a coin on the camera. And that's how I actually picked my book of the month this month, because February just had two of my favorites that'll without a doubt be in my top 10 at the end of the year. And that's the first time I feel like that's happened in the same month. I've had some tough choices before, but never where it's like, I don't know if I can pick. It's really that close. But we'll see. If I do have the time to get it out, I did ask people when I talked about why audiobooks don't really work for me. I also kind of briefly mentioned that Book Talk, why that was a kind of a bad experience for me and why I don't do it. I said, you guys want me to make that video? And I had lots of comments about, yes, please make the Book Talk video and talk about why Book Talk just didn't work for me. And I definitely am not taking anything away from book talkers. Obviously, Book Talk has done some great things. It's the whole reason Barnes & Noble basically got rescued was Book Talk. They are opening new stores now, and they credit Book Talk for the reason why they've gotten popularity again for physical media, which I am a champion of. So it's not all bad things, but I can talk about my experience with it and why I think that Book Talk just isn't for me, and maybe why I feel like some of those people are quite ingenuine. But again, that's all conjecture on my behalf, and it's definitely not a takedown video or nothing like that. But I can kind of talk about my experience as a 46-year-old man, why Book Talk didn't work for me outside of the, what you would expect those reasons to be. And we'll kind of talk about that here sometime this week. TV and movie talk stuff here. Before I go, guys, we did watch ℂ𝕦𝕣𝕔𝕙𝕤𝕤, the 2024 version here, actually last night. And it was kind of a mixed reaction. What I'll say is I feel like Robert Eggers movies are always going to kind of be a mixed reaction, because I'll be straight with you guys. I did not like The Witch. I thought that The Witch, incredible acting, beautiful cinematography. The movie, not so much. Lighthouse, kind of the same thing. Incredible performances. Like Willem Dafoe in that is incredible. Way over my head. Did not get it. I love Northman. I thought Northman was incredible. I mean, obviously, I'm all about Viking stuff. That's my shit. I love it. I thought that movie was just amazing. What's funny is people that really love Robert Eggers, that was like their least favorite one. Then ℂ𝕤𝕤𝕤 comes up, and I was like, that's the perfect director to do that. Because what I respect about Robert Eggers, even though I've mixed on his movies, is he sticks to his principles as a filmmaker. He's basically said, like, I have no interest in making a superhero movie. I have no interest in conforming to Hollywood norms, which is a lot. This is a nice way of saying I don't like the over-reliance on CGI. I don't like the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't like the commentary that are in a lot of movies. And I don't like, basically your movies are just lazy, formulaic studio pictures. He's never going to be that guy. So the fact that he sticks to his principles in that regard, I respect it. Not only does he do them as period pieces, and I think that helps it make it where, okay, I don't have to put a bunch of goofy stuff. He just did a horror movie like this, and it feels like every horror movie like this the last decade is just in love with putting some kind of FX shot, some kind of CGI in there, and it just takes you out of it. Like, everybody loved It Part 1, and you think about that part with the painting, the painting chick coming to life and attacking Stan, looked ridiculous, right? I'm glad that this movie didn't do that. As for ℂ𝕤𝕤𝕤 itself, I think it was good, not great. I enjoyed it. I'm not upset that I watched it, but it's nothing I think I would ever watch again. I don't necessarily think that the approach that they used for Count Orlok was the best. Now, obviously, when you're dealing with this, you're going to get lots of comparisons to Dracula because, yes, ℂ𝕤𝕤𝕤 was basically, originally cease and desisted because it was taking Bram Stoker's Dracula, changing character names, and telling the whole story because they couldn't get the rights to it. And, the movie was illegally leaked. It was leaked illegally, and it just became like a big, big thing. So, yes, you can watch this movie and you can be like, this feels exactly like Dracula, because it is. I mean, you really are just replacing characters, It's not a big secret. Even at the end of the movie, it says based on Dracula, basically. And while I admire that, while I was watching this, all it made me want to do is go back and watch Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. And that's kind of how I felt about it. But again, incredible acting. Lily James Depp, is that her name? Anyway, really good. I mean, incredible. She's very limber. Some of the movements they had her doing this. You know that they're not using CGI and stuff in this. It's very impressive what she was able to do in this. And I think Bill Skarsgård, he's becoming like a horror icon at this point. You know, he's played Pennywise. Now he's playing Nosferatu. It seems like he is the go-to. If they remake Pumpkinhead, I'm pretty sure they'll call Bill Skarsgård first, right? So it was, again, great acting, incredibly shot. But I liked the movie. I did. It's just, it's never to a point where I'm like, oh, this is absolutely amazing. I never had that feeling like I did with Northman. And again, I do, but I respect the hell out of his vision, what this guy is doing. We need more directors like this in Hollywood, that no matter what the outside noise is, he's going to make the movie that he wants to make. And that's why, even though I've been mixed to positive on his movies, I will watch whatever he puts out going forward, because we don't have enough visionary directors like this in Hollywood. And I love what he's doing. Even if I don't like the final product, again, I love what he's attempting to do. And it's just, it should be, celebrated, because the guy is really just doing what he wants to do. And I love that. And I love it. And I want to see more directors doing this. So he's quickly approaching like Denny V for me, and Tarantino and Christopher Nolan, that no matter what he puts out, I'm going to at least try it, because I think that there's such unique voices there, and he's definitely one of them. And I can't wait to see what he does next. I'm very, very, very interested. So we did watch Mystic River. We talked about the book. It was obviously amazing. So could the movie live up to it? Now look, I don't think Clint Eastwood has ever directed a bad movie. The guy is incredible at what he does. This is a very good adaptation. It's just one of those things where you go and you say, you can't do everything you can do in a book, because a lot of this book is mostly inner monologue with these characters. So there's lots of things with Dave you couldn't really understand. Lots of things with Jimmy's past, with his wife. Like, I feel like her speech to him at the end didn't hit as hard as it did in the book, because you didn't get to hear the stories about how they met, and, how she was like, are you done with this life of crime? Those kinds of things. You didn't get to know those things. And I didn't feel like, Sean's story with his wife, who we'll call not really saying it, was explained as much as it needed to be. It was just kind of a quick exposition between Sean and Whitey in the movie. And that's just, again, guys, the book's always better, because you can do things like that. But as for an adaptation, very, very good. Like, my wife didn't read it. She was emotionally devastated by the movie. So they did that right. You didn't see anything from Katie's point of view. And I think that really kind of hurt the movie a little bit, but only if you've read the book. But I think that reading the book first makes that opening scene hit so much harder, because you feel like you know these boys at that point. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful symbolism with watching so you see Sean and Jimmy watching Dave drive off in the car there in the very beginning, and at the very end, it kind of does like the same thing. I don't feel like Dave was Dave died the moment he got in the back of that car, and you see older Sean and Jimmy standing there watching that car drive away. Powerful stuff, hauntingly beautiful. But again, Clint Eastwood, amazing director. I think the guy, he's a wonderful actor, but as a director, I don't feel like he misses ever. And this is another one of those where I hate that it took me 20-something years to see this movie, because I always wanted to read the book first. So thank you to Brian for picking this, because it finally got me to watch the movie. And I remember thinking after I read it, I was like, Sean Penn is Jimmy? I just can't see that. He was good. He's very good. Deserved the Oscar that he got for this movie. So if you don't want to read the book, that's okay. That's fine. I definitely watch the movie if you haven't. I think you'll like it a lot. Because like I said, my wife didn't read the book, and she was wrecked emotionally like I was, and it's good. Very, very good adaptation. But guys, that was my week. Obviously, a lot is going on. A lot's going to be happening in the week coming up, and I appreciate you guys sticking around. And while I'm kind of going through this battling a cold, real life stuff, and trying to get content out, I appreciate you guys kind of being patient with me. And I'll keep on keeping on as much as I can. But I want to know what you guys are keeping on about. What are you up to? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you playing? Drop in the comments, guys, and let me know. And have yourselves an awesome, awesome weekend.